Hey guys, this is part two to doing a lap comparison with two different videos on top of each other. Here we have one of our drivers, Envy, and then we have an Otis Lawrence lap. So we have a 24.5 and a 24.2 we're comparing. Some of the things that I look at when analyzing our driver's laps is looking at gears, just making sure you're in the correct gear for each corner, and then making sure that the timing of your downshifts is that esports drivers, the last downshift is like an extra rotation boost that they use. So they'll go quickly down the gears, and then the last gear, they'll wait until kind of midway through the corner where they start feeling like they're losing rotation. Then they'll downshift again and get a little bit of extra rotation. Angle and position on track. So it's, are you using the entire track all the way to the curb? And then making sure that your car is pointed in the direction of the curb and not outwards or in a suboptimal way where you have to rotate the car more than you need to. So you'll see that later. Hitting the brakes right to 100%. I have some telemetry of kind of what you should be looking for in your braking telemetry. Quick to 100%. And then esports drivers, they drop the brakes quickly down to like this 30, it could be 20, could be 30, could be 40% hold on the trail brake, kind of depending on the corner and the amount of grip you have. So you'll see that you don't want to have like a slow decay from 100%. You don't want that type of trail brake for this game. Then the way you jump onto throttle. So it's usually esports drivers, they'll quickly jump to 60, 70, 80% depending on the corner. I don't really, in this example, it doesn't really do that, but there will be a vertical line and then a slow build up to 100%. Then another thing is the amount of steering angle. You don't want to be over rotating the steering wheel. You want to be rotating the car via using brakes and trail braking and throttle inputs. And then another thing, the rate of change of direction of the steering angle. If you have a chicane, you're turning the wheel from one angle to the other angle as fast as you can. It's not a slow change of rotation on the wheel. So let's start the lap. The first thing I'll notice is that Otis is in 8th gear. Our driver, Envy, is only in 7th. So that's something to note. You could look at kind of where they are on the track. This corner isn't too important because it's flat out, but you see a bit of a difference. Should I get pretty much the same here, actually, where they're using the curb. Here, this is one of the differences here. Otis more onto the curb here than Envy, as well as kind of the position of the car. Envy, he's still pointing his car a bit to the left. Otis, he'll get full on the curb, and then he'll point his car right in the direction of the track. So if you're pointing your car off a little bit, you have to rotate the car more. You can actually see the braking. Otis is actually on the brakes sooner than Envy. Then you can look at the gears again. Otis is in 4th. As he's into the turn, he'll then do another click down to 3rd to rotate the car more. Our driver does not do that. And 3rd, difference in gears here. Inputs generally about the same here. Look at the throttle input, similar. Otis able to run the car out wider here than our driver. Again, we're only a 10th down here, so it's mainly just that one corner could get a little extra rotation with the gears, and then a little bit of the angle and position on track. You don't see a lot of when you're this close to esports, you don't see that many mistakes of like not hitting the throttle 100%. You'll see that in some drivers where they'll only be hitting 95% brake. I mean, and that would be a mistake. similar, both going down to 5th and then 4th. Similar amount of braking here. A little bit difference in the line. Otis is kind of getting the car more onto the curb here. And again, similar through here. Similar amount of tap on the brakes here. About 30-40%. Our driver actually goes down to 3rd, then quickly back up onto 4th. That's something you'd like to change. Again, here you can kind of see the way they jump on throttle. They both jump on throttle a similar amount here. So they're both jumping on throttle 50-60%. I would say our driver may be jumping on throttle earlier. Because Otis is actually ahead on this lap. But we're on throttle sooner than Otis. So maybe thinking about letting the car rotate for longer in this corner before getting on throttle could be something to work on. Again, straights here. Similar amount of curb use. Again, our driver downshifting is 7th. You don't want to be doing that. Leave it in 8th. You don't want generally you don't want these high RPMs. You're more efficient at 1,600 RPM or 10,600 RPMs as opposed to like 12,000 RPMs. So keeping it 8th here, similar stuff. This one is one of the trickiest corners. But I see what Otis is doing. He's actually applying a bit of brakes here. He applies about. We can go back a second. He applies about 10% braking here. Goes down to 7th. That allows you to rotate the car more. See, he's more on the curb here, and I guess the angle of the car, it's more to the left here. So he's able to set up this next corner better than a lot of drivers. So he's then able to apply only another about 10% braking here, another downshift to 6th. He's able to get a better exit on this corner. If you look at our driver, yeah, let's go back a few seconds. We keep it flat here, and then a big amount of braking here. It's like 40% braking versus Otis's 10% braking. And then Otis a bit, I'd say similar amount of track use on the exit. Again, he's ahead, but pretty big difference. It's a 5-kilometer difference in speed here. You can look at the difference here, 0.2 now difference between the laps. Again, that'll go up to 3.5. So Otis about 60% braking here. Similar amount of braking here from each driver. And then you can look at the jump on throttle. They both do a good job of that. They jump on throttle to about 60-70% immediately. There's no hesitation in how they get on throttle. This is a bit of difference here. Otis is able to get way onto the curb, and he's pointing his car pretty straight down the line. Our driver, he's in the braking zone, but his car is still getting more onto the curb. So it means he's not pointing his car directly straight. So he's gonna have to do more rotation into the corner. So that's a bit suboptimal. So you'll be able to get, if you point your car straight, you'll have to rotate the car less. So you should be able to carry more speed through the corner. Then you can obviously look at the trail braking. Similar amount of trail braking. Pretty similar jump onto throttle there. Then we actually are able to use a little more exit curb there, which can be good if you feel like the car needs to use that amount of curb. Again, it's more important to be using the grip of all 4 tires as opposed to be making sure you hit every apex perfectly. And another thing we haven't really been looking at is the angle of rotation of the steering wheel. So something, and that's really important when you have to put on a lot of lock, making sure you're not over putting lock. So you can see right here we're actually putting bit more lock than Otis. Right? We did have to set up the car. Actually, you have to rotate the car more because of the position on track, and then it's just trying to limit the amount of lock you're putting on the wheel and trying to use trail braking to rotate the car as much as you can. So here, just a bit more in the hand position from our drivers as opposed to Otis. So that's the lap. That's kind of how we do lap analysis at WOR. So kind of any driver who submits a lap who wants to get analyzed gets something like this, and then they'll get comments in Discord about pretty much all these corners, and then screenshots of maybe particular trail braking things where they notice something is weird. But I guess thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.